Hello. Okay, today I want to show you how to make your book, how to transfer your book from CreateSpace, and how to make a paper book from your ebook on KDP. So you might not necessarily have to transfer if you only have an ebook, okay? So if you have not already started to set up your print book, it's going to look like this when you come onto your bookshelf. It'll say create paperback right here. I already started that process with this book that I'm going to try it on, and then realized that I should record this so I can have it for you guys. So I clicked on create paperback. So now I'm going to click on continue setup. And the cool thing is that because it already has all of your information from the ebook, all of that stuff is already loaded right up in here. And if you're going to make changes, it has to happen here. But I believe since you've already printed the ebook, some of this stuff can't be changed. So you can add in other contributors. You can update your description. You can update your keywords. You can choose categories. So it's going to ask if it's adult content. You know what? This is one that always worries me because I'm afraid if I say yes, it's going to flag it somehow. But this book definitely is about, death of babies from a syndrome that it impacts identical twins. And I think there is some mature content, so I'm going to put yes. Now, have you published this before on CreateSpace? So I've already clicked on this, but you could switch it if you wanted to, but I clicked yes, and it'll tell you about why this is important and what you need to know about it. So basically, if you've already published on CreateSpace, you click yes, and then it'll ask you for your information, and then you can transfer. So I already did that. It verified. I put in my ISBN. It verified. You come to this screen, and before there was a big box right here that gave you basically a warning that once you click yes to creating this paperback and transfer the paperback, you will no longer be on CreateSpace, and it's like you can't transfer back. So this is pretty important that you read that and that you pay attention, and that's why I chose this book, because it's one of our least selling books. So if this goes wrong, it's not too risky for me, right? But honestly, the feel out there, and if you watch this video in the future and this has already happened, you'll be like, okay, that's old news. But the feel is that on February 1st of 2018, it appears as though CreateSpace is going to be going away. So I'm starting to get my ducks in a row so that when CreateSpace is gone, I'm not floundering around trying to take care of this. Do I know this for a fact? No, it's absolutely a rumor. But just as a side note for you, KDP is actually like directly owned by Amazon. CreateSpace is an Amazon provider, but they are not an Amazon company. It's its own separate entity. It's its own business, its own company. But it's in South Carolina, which is where I happen to live. And there's been some rumor mill amongst people here that they may be closing. So anyway, that's the rumor. It's kind of been talked about. It kind of looks like it's happening based on just, if you noticed a couple weeks ago, CreateSpace decided to stop author support services. So they're no longer doing editing. They're no longer doing some of the other support services that you could go to CreateSpace and pay for. And at the same time, KDP is really beefing up this element of the print book. Now you can actually view a proof, which you couldn't before. And there's just other things that are happening from a business standpoint. It doesn't really make sense for Amazon to be supporting two separate book companies, So it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. At any rate, I'm walking you through so that if you do decide to start a paperback because you've already created an ebook and you want to start a paperback, then that's interesting. I'm going to walk you through the process of doing it if you've only done an ebook too, because I'm really curious to see what happens if you don't have a a cover and an interior that's already formatted for print. With this case, I'm transferring from CreateSpace, so I know it already pulled over the interior that I know is already formatted. It pulled over the cover that I know is already formatted. Outdated, needs to be updated with the change that we've done on our covers, but nevertheless, it is. All right, this took a long time last time. I probably should have, it apparently doesn't take so long second time around. But just like on CreateSpace, it'll launch the previewer. You can see that your book looks right and that everything is fit within the red zones as it's supposed to be. Make sure your content is definitely within the lines, which everything is good so far. So, all right, I'm happy with the way it looks. A little bit close on the left side interior, isn't it? But it's inside the lines, so that's fine. Okay, I'm going to approve it. Looks good. I'm happy with that. I'm keeping the black and white paper and keeping all of the same options on everything. Okay, printing cost is a little bit higher than it was on CreateSpace. Let me do a double check here. Nope, I was wrong. I double checked. It was actually $4.69 on CreateSpace, which is interesting because it's not a very long book. It seems like a high price for them, but maybe it's longer than I recall. It's been a long time since we put it together. Okay, so this is cool too. One of the things that I was reading about is about Amazon's ability to get your book into other marketplaces, foreign marketplaces, and they were even talking about how it can be provided in the language. I think they said everything except for Japan. So I just briefly skimmed that. I need to go back and find out exactly what they were talking about, because that would be really interesting if somehow they translated the book or made it available in the language without you having to do anything. That's pretty crazy. So I think I'm gonna make. I think the list price has been $9.99. I need to double check on that. Okay, so it's 330 pages. I had it listed on the other side at $14.99. I think I'm gonna keep that price just because. Let's see what it calculates up for us. So this is kind of cool. Apparently you get 60% royalties less printing cost on each thing. So the printing cost is $4.68. So the royalties would be $4.32 per book. They figure out the prices for you here, and this is what it comes down to. So here's why you really have to pay attention to what you're pricing, because if I kept it at $9.99, I mean, that's a big difference in royalties right there. It's not a huge difference in cost to the buyer, but that's a massive difference in royalty, especially, yeah, just across the board. So it'll calculate things. If you like a different price in a different place, then you can go in and adjust those. It can take up to 72 hours for your book to be available. Then it'll be in review. By clicking this, I agree. I have read the KDP print. I'm going to save and continue. Okay, so here's what we are doing. We are participating in the Paperback beta program. We're already agreed to the Kindle Direct Publishing because we have our book published in there. We get lending books, pricing, royalties, all this stuff, grant of rights. Paperback program, you grant us the right to distribute and sell your paperbacks through Amazon properties and sales channels. Pricing is the list price. Okay, royalties, if you're not in breach, then you get your 60%. Okay. Just for comparison. So just so you can see it's really not that different than what CreateSpace was doing. So we were getting $4.45 in royalties here. I never used expanded distribution because I put my books on Ingram Spark, so it's not terribly different then. Okay, let's go on back here. So they are now allowing you to request a proof of this book. Now this is interesting. You purchase it through your cart. You can purchase it through any of these marketplaces. You can order up to 5 at a time. Okay. Amazon.com. So they do just charge you the print cost, which is good. Might order a couple of them at this price. While I'm ordering, I mean, why not, right? The only thing, if you haven't, like, I've already published this book through CreateSpace, so I know it's good to go. If this was my first time seeing a print proof, I might only order one because, well, first of all, they have the not for resale watermark on the cover. They don't have the ISBN, so I'm just gonna stick with just the one. If you were mailing them to advanced readers or beta readers and you needed to be able to send them a proof to review, then you might want to order all 5 so that you could send it to those people. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if that means I have to go to my Amazon cart or what happened, because I said order it and it went away. So bookshelf, draft status, click request proof, select the quantity, select the Amazon Marketplace. Within 4 hours, you'll receive an email with a link to complete your proof order. You must purchase within 24 hours of receiving this email. Okay, got it. Once you receive the email and click on the link to complete your order, you'll be directed to the Amazon shopping cart. So this is good to know. Okay. We've done everything we need to do. You can either save it as your draft and come back to it later, or you can go ahead and publish. So we're going to go ahead and publish this book, and fingers crossed, right? Okay, so now we've got it up there. It can take up for 72 hours. All right, we're done. We've done it. All right, now I want to walk through, and I'm going to do this on a separate video, I believe, but starting from one that does not have a paperback and see what that process looks like.